Anderson, and I'm on the INACSL Board of Directors. And we're going to quickly go over some of the bylaw changes. And just as a reminder, this is being recorded. Do you mind switching to the next slide? Thank you. So we're going to talk about some of the bylaw changes that are being recommended for a vote this year. The bylaw change process, we worked with the association management representatives and the governance committee. There are several people on the call today. Thank you for being on. We worked on bylaw changes for about the last year. We did some updates and edits, all changes that have affected the bylaws since the last time they were approved, which was May 29th of 2019. Bylaws proposed changes were then approved by the Board of Directors in July of 2021. Overall, I'm just going to kind of generally go over the major changes in the bylaws. We made corrections to spelling, grammar, capitalizations, and improved the consistency throughout the document. We included proper numbering in alphabetical order within each section, especially as things were changed or removed, and tried to remove redundancies throughout the document. Really tried to tighten it up. Some of the sections were combined, again, to decrease the redundancy. And then overall, we removed gender specific language like he, she, him, her. So some of the other changes, the proposed revisions are outlined in the Bylaws 2021 document with rationales. It's posted on the Bylaws website, on the INACSL website. There's a clean version with all the accepted changes, and then there's one with, you can see the changes outlined with rationales. And we also provided several associated policies, including the duties of the directors and duties and responsibilities of standing committees. This was some of the information that was in the bylaws that were pulled out and made into a policy. Next slide, thank you. We updated the mission and vision. This was voted and approved on by the Board of Directors in May 2020. So again, this was just updated in the document. One of the other major changes was in the officers. Previously, we had a president, president-elect, immediate past president, and 7 vice presidents that were specifically named, like I was the vice president for operations. And we've changed this to president, president-elect, immediate past president, treasurer, secretary, and 6 directors, and they're just general directors. The duties of the directors were removed and made into a policy. The rationale for this is that the position of treasurer and secretary was added to fulfill legal requirements of the state of Texas, and that is where INACSL is incorporated. We also removed specific director duties from the bylaws and converted it into a policy, which really allows INACSL to be more flexible in reviewing and redefining board roles. And it's really also dependent on the skill set of the elected board members and needs of the association. Another major change was with committees. Information about the standing committees was removed and made into a policy. Again, it's the duties and responsibilities of standing committees. The reason for this for the bylaws are kind of a high governing document, while policies and procedures can be more day-to-day operations. So this policy will be reviewed annually and updated as needed. We also had legal review this. They reviewed the bylaws and revised per their legal counsel. So your role with the bylaws is to review the changes and the rationales. It will be posted for 30 days prior to amendments being voted on per the bylaws, and the link is provided. If you have any questions for me, here's my email address, and we'll open it up in a minute for questions. The vote will be for approval between November 1 and November 30th. And I really want to thank the governance committee. The chair is Megan Jones, and I see she's on today. The board of directors, our legal review, Barnes and Thornburg, INACSL staff, and all of our members. What questions can we answer? Anybody?
Could I ask that we go back a few slides so we can click on the link that you made available?
Janae's running the slides. Hold on just a second.
Oh, that's fine. Janae, can you copy the link and put it in the chat? That may be the easiest. Thank you, Jessica.
So question is, the changes to the committees creates a larger work volume for the VP. How do you foresee that changing the desire for people to volunteer? We're actually hoping it doesn't create a larger work for the vice president, and we can readjust as needed since it's a policy. We are still hoping we have tons of volunteers. There's work for everyone within the committees. Did I answer your question? Thank you. Any other questions? No other questions? And we do have administrative support from Smith Buckland. Thank you, Barbara, for putting that in the chat. I'm not hearing any more questions. Any other comments about the bylaws? Anybody else have anything to add?
This is Susie. I would say thank you, Mindy, for all the work that you've done. It's been a lot of work over a long period of time, and they look beautifully clean now, and they match more like what the 21st century equivalent of bylaws would look like. And thank you to all of our members who are working with us and going with the flow here as we convert to this new way of doing things. And I think it will even out the workload for the board of directors, and will maybe help people see themselves as running for the board in the future, because the workload is more evenly distributed and that you have support on all sides. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you all. And thank you for dialing in today. We really appreciate it. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please send me an email. I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Megan. Thanks for also cheering.